everyone. I hope you all are doing good. In our last video, what I shared with you is that I was finally able to spin up the Sterling Integrator server after resolving all the errors that I was receiving, and hence I was not able to show the Sterling Integrator UI right for any kind of trainings or tutorials that I was trying to provide all of you. But so that now but now that we have our Sterling integrator up and running, right, in today's video what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can install map editor if you have access to Sterling integrator server, how you can download the exe file and for the installation as well as the standards that you have to install right on top of that. And then when you run any like if you create a map and then you want to compile and run it from your local, what happens right behind the scene, how do you other than just looking into the results and trying to identify any issues, okay, in your map testing, okay, you can do the same thing from your Sterling integrator dashboard. So what is the business process that gets invoked when you are actually running the map editor in your local, pointing to the server where the map is supposed to run? So I'm going to show those two things. So let me share my screen. So my Sterling integrator home page or the login page is loading. Once it prompts me for the user ID and the password, I'm gonna log into the user using the login and the password, and I'll show you how to download those two exe files as I mentioned. And then I'm gonna also show you the business process, right, that gets utilized behind the scene when you are running any local map testing, right? So let's give it a sec. And there you go. The dashboard has loaded and it's going to ask me for the user ID and password. Let's just give the default user ID password. And then once I log in, okay, so first I'm going to show the second one, and then I'm going to show the first, like how to download. So because I've already downloaded it, right? So I don't want to spend all the time how, like, during the download process, right? So I'll show you the place where you can use it. But before that, once it just gets loaded, um, if we go to the business process section on the left hand uh, window, let's see. It is actually running in a workstation, hence it is little slow. Typically, in real life scenarios, right, these are running on some on-premise or cloud physical servers or virtual servers, right? And they have more memory and CPU size, so they're pretty fast, right? So you won't see that glitch of like the slowness typically. So let me Maybe refresh this page. Okay, let me go to the admin console. And try it, right? Okay, whoever is active Sterling integrator map developer, I know that you are mostly stuck to the local map development and testing, but whenever you do that, if you have access to the Sterling integrator dashboard, just try it out. Like when you run a map test from your local, log into the Sterling integrator UI, and then follow the same instruction that I'm just going to give you, and see that you're able to visualize, right? The map testing is actually like whenever you're running a map test, it basically invokes a business process at the backend, because there is a HTTP server adapter that is listening for the specific port that you have provided in the Sterling integrator server settings in your map editor. Like typically we give the base port plus 33. So let's say your base port is 50,000. So your map test when you are running, okay, if you realize you always give plus 33. So if it is like 50,000 is 50,033, right? Why? Because if you go to Sterling integrator UI and go to your services configuration and search for HTTP server adapter, there is this server adapter, okay, for specific to map test. There is a bootstrap business process related to map testing that is running on 50,033 or base port plus 33, and hence this server adapter is always listening for any kind of map test that you're doing locally, and then it invokes the business process that does all the processing of your, like you're getting your input file and then running it through the map itself, the map file, and giving you the output back with the map test result that you basically see in your local, right? That's just the end-to-end flow, right, that I was explaining. But if you see over here, if I click on business processes and then go to manager and then search for map simply, is going to list a business process that I wanted to show, which is this map test, right? This is the process that actually gets invoked. So whenever you run map, this process gets invoked. And why I'm saying is, like if you go to your deployment and then if you go to services, configuration, and then I wanted to like demystify the mystery, right? That's kind of the intent of this session. What happens, right? We just blindly as a developer run the map, right, and gets the output. But what happens behind the scene? Uh, Let it just load. Give it a sec. And while it's trying to load, right? If you see over here, there is a map section. In this maps, right? This is where, okay, you go and you get a download option of the exe file for both the map editor as well as the standards. For some reason, let me see. Let me click it again. Configuration. I wanted to show you the HTTP server adapter, right? That is listening on that port 33, like base port plus 33, and the bootstrap business process, which is map test. Uh, let's see. But while it is loading, maybe I can open another page for the maps. Let's see. Next time, what I'm gonna do is like in our next session, right before that, I'm gonna like manually edit the settings of the VMware and provide more memory to it so that at least we can mitigate this slowness that we are seeing right now. So I'll do that prep work, right, so that we don't have to like wait for a while to get this loaded and see if that helps, right, to kind of expedite the loading process, right. But I'm glad like at least I'm able to like show you all right the UI and be able to then have some conversations around like there's this specific topics which always I have seen like a mystery for most of the people who work on Sterling Integrator. So if you see over here, I have loaded the map page, right? This is the maps page. When you click on these maps, and you see there's a download map editor in different languages. So it's like English for English language, and it's going to ask you a local location, okay, or a folder that we want to download and keep save the file, and then so that's the option, right, for the maps. Similarly, okay, if you see you need not only the map file but you need the standards. So there's a standards right under this, so you can click this and you have to download the standards, the EDI standards, right. So I'm talking about edifact standard, trader comps, X12 standards, right. You need those standards to be able to then use those in your maps for like you're doing any yeah, EDI map development, right. While it is doing, let me try to see, okay, if I can click on this and then try to come back to the configuration page. uh, let's see. So you need both of them. Only one won't help, right? Like if you have only the map editor related exe file, you can only install a map editor, but you can do like manually, you can create the input structure and the output structure, but that's cumbersome, right? So you definitely at least need some kind of like standard so that you can help mitigate that manual heavy lifting of creating the entire like the input schema or the output schema based on your mapping requirement specifications. So that's the reason you definitely need a standard file, right? So yeah, so let's see if I am able to now click back and go to the configuration page, and it should load now this time. But yeah, uh, if you see this page has already loaded, and if I go to the standards, so if you see there are multiple different kind of standards, right? Download EDI standards, download CII standards for financial industries, uh, download Swift standards, right? This is for banking, right? And then there's like chip standards, Fedwire. So there are a ton of standards that you can download based on your requirements. So these are the two tabs, but let's see if this time the configuration page loads. And thank you for all the comments that you all are posting for asking like different questions. Also, like encouraging me, right, and also giving a like kind of a thumbs up of that these videos are useful for all of you. And keep sending those comments. I'll look into them and try to like kind of create or my tutorials around those suggestions, right? So yeah. Let's see. Well, this page is taking a little longer. Let me see if there is another place that I can show you. Uh, yeah, there is. It's just like maybe there are a lot of services, and yeah, there's another way I can show you. Let's see. Maybe I can open a command line, and let's see from the back end I can show you or not. PS minus EF. Okay, this is a Windows box, right? So netstat. Let's see, netstat, right? This typically gives all the TCP port, right? Now I wanted to. Okay, let's see. It's just gonna load all of them, but what I wanted to show is, yeah, I already one quick thing. Yeah. So here, if you see, and let's try to find port 50,033. There should be a port 50,033 for map editor. And let's see. 50,047, 50,006. Okay, let's do a grape netstat. Okay. There's so many over here, right? Hence, I wanted to show you from the UI. But typically, there should be a port like this, a TCP connection established with port 50,033, which is where your map editor is basically running. I wanted to show you the Bootstrap business process as well. Uh, but for some reason, there's, let me see if I can re-log in this page. Anyway, I think that was not just the topic, right? Okay, though I wanted to like kind of go a little deep today, but definitely I'll try to cover that in next session. But the whole point of this session was like to show you where and how to download the exe files, and what are the different exe files or the executable files that you need to install map editor, as well as the standards. And the second thing is, when you are running the map editor locally, what happens behind the scenes, right? What is the business process? It's map test, right? Which is bootstrap to 50,033 for our case, because my base code is 50,000. It can be 10,033 based on if your Sterling integrator is running on 10,000, right? Things like that. So yeah, do give it a check, right, on your end to validate the same thing. But that was, I think, hopeful for like hoping that it was helpful for all of you, right? With that, I will see you next week. Please feel free to put comments, okay, if you want to ask any specific questions on this topic. Thank you, everyone.